Driving through the night trying to keep my eyes open. The generator's busted and the AC's broken. I'm talking to the Lord, hope he helps us get there safe. And we made it to the show, now we're singing to the crowd. We're playing encore and they're screaming real loud. Try to get home early, but I know that ain't the case. Yeah, it's another hotel room, sleeping on the floor. I'm hurting in the morning from the night before. Pay my dues, I'm eating love the road. I'm coming home, baby, leave the porch light on. Breakfast in the morning from 7 to 9, but we just can't seem to wake up in time. We grab a cup of coffee and we're off to hit the road. Now we're running on fumes, no time to kill. We got one more show and it's a shitty door deal. Breaking my back just to make a couple more. Yeah, it's another hotel room, sleeping on the floor. I'm hurting in the morning from the night before. Pay my dues, I'm eating love the road. I'm coming home, baby, leave the porch light on. Yeah, it's another hotel room, sleeping on the floor. I'm hurting in the morning from the night before. Pay my dues, I'm eating love the road. I'm coming home, baby, leave the porch light on. Yeah, it's another hotel room, sleeping on the floor. I'm hurting in the morning from the night before. Pay my dues, I'm eating love the road. I'm coming home, baby, leave the porch light on.
Ladies and gentlemen, do you want to know why I'm here today? It's not because I want to give you a pep talk or because I want to make you feel good about yourselves. No, I'm here to tell you the truth.
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to my Wednesday night show. I'm feeling a little under the weather. I have a little bit of a fever going on, but I've taken some medication and hopefully we can work through this evening. Got a sound check, make sure that we're still got audio for this, but I think we're good if all things look the way that they look, so we should be good. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going to happen. I usually do a little bit of a monologue, tell you what I'm going to cover for the evening. One of these days, I'm going to add a banner across the top so that during that intro, you can check out whether or not you want to stay, because I do cover 2 cases, but now I'm probably covering 3 cases. I'll explain that here in a bit. And so I want to put a little banner up at the top so people know what we're going to cover for the evening, so that you have a chance to be like, yeah, maybe I'll skip this one, maybe I won't. Of course, I want you to make every single one, of course. But anyways, so we're going to talk about a little bit of business changes and devil's advocates, just to get that out of the way and tell you some things that are happening, some rebranding of some content on my channel, and I want to explain why that's happening. We're going to talk about the hearing today in Brian Coberger's case. There was a hearing before Judge Hippler, of course, about the continuance motion, the request to basically postpone the trial. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about my live coming up tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, along with a special guest where I'm going on a show we call Devil's Mayhem with myself and Pete Altieri from Murder Metal Mayhem. Hey, I said it right the first time. Holy crap, I usually screw that up the very first time. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the new case that I'm going to kind of be paying attention to, which is the Gilgo 4 murder, or not 4. It's not, well, it started out as the Gilgo 4. We're going to talk about the Gilgo beach murders. I can say that a lot of times. I'll explain a little bit about that new case. We're going to talk about my book series on the website and some of the things that I have to offer, and then we'll open up for open Q&A. So there isn't a lot of Luigi Mangione stuff, unfortunately. Luigi Mangione doesn't have a lot going on right now. He was the primary purpose what we started this channel from the beginning, but right now we're kind of on a slow roll with Luigi Mangione at the moment. Don't have a court appearance on that kind of thing until September 16th, I think it is. Now I expect we're going to hear something before that, but let me go ahead and pull up a few things on camera here, and let's see here. Add this to, let's remove this, let's add that. All right. So this is my website, devilsadvocates.info. One of the things I wanted to tell you real quick is some business changes and some things to look for. I know a lot of people aren't going to the website, and because they're not going to the website, I haven't been keeping it up as well as I should. But I want to do the opposite, which is I want to keep it up more often. That's my goal, so that the website becomes useful. So on the website, every Sunday, I'm going to lay out the schedule for the week. So here you can see this week at Devil's Advocates. We already did Monday, June 16th. That was Birdie Bombshells and I. There's the thumbnail from that event. That link right there will take you to a live replay if you want to watch Birdie and I talk about Idaho 4. We talked a lot about Idaho 4. We talked about William 127, I think was the number, the guy that was a friend of Brian Coberger's that came on. We broke down that video, talked about that video. A lot of stuff that was good in that show. If you missed it, you want to check that out. Also Tuesday, I had another live at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, just kind of general comments and notes. I was solo on that one, but you can catch the live right there on the link if you want to. Of course, you can always go to Devil's Advocates 2024 channel, which you're already looking at, and just click on the live page, which I think you're kind of already looking at, and you could watch replays there as well. Then we're talking about Wednesday, which we're doing now. Then Thursday, of course, there's the live at 12 p.m. tomorrow, followed by look at that, Murder Metal Mayhem. We're gonna talk about Idaho 4. We're gonna talk about the DoorDasher that's been kind of in the news lately, or in the hubbub of the internet. Friday is going to be my regular show, followed by the After Dark Party. There's the After Dark Party. That's the 18 and older Discord channel where you can let loose and say all the things that you shouldn't say on a monetized channel. Saturday and Sunday, I tend to take off. Sunday, I'm going to Boise, Idaho. We're going to talk about me attending the Brian Coberger trial. So let me tell you a little bit now about the changes in Devil's Advocates. I don't remember if everyone knows this or if anybody cares, but I'm going to tell you anyways, because guys, I'm trying to build a community here, keeping you guys in the loop. I started Devil's Advocates with a friend of mine who was kind of in marketing. He's been in sales and marketing for a long time. We've been friends for 33 years because I'm old. But anyways, he just doesn't really have time for it, and he's not a true crime person, and he has officially stepped out of the business. So my wife has taken over, and so now officially, even though I've always referred to my wife as the she-devil, she is officially business partners on the Devil's Advocates. It was my buddy and I running the company and building an idea together, but he's just decided he can't do it. He has no time, and he won't have any time in the near future. And so he's been removed. removed from that position voluntarily, and my wife is officially a co-owner of the brand, if you will, and she's the She-Devil. And it's funny because we get this little intro that Birdie made us, and it's got the two little male and female little devils, if you will, imps, which kind of represents me and the She-Devil, or the She-Devil and I. So anyways, when you see Rhonda again, my wife, let her know that you congratulate her as the official business partner, but everybody always considered her a business partner anyways. What else we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about a little bit about changes in branding. And so what I'm trying to do is, so I've been covering two stories, primarily two cases: Luigi Mangione, the alleged shooter of Brian Thompson in New York City in December, and then Idaho 4, which is a case that's 2.5 years old and going to trial here very shortly. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to do this. Now, I'm not a graphics design person. This is what I had my previous partner for, and now I have to do it all by myself. So by the way, if you're out there and you love the channel for some reason and you have a better eye on graphics and you see this and you're going, oh my God, Devil's Advocates, you need to get a graphics person, I'm always accepting free help from somebody who just believes in the content. But what I want to show you is I've got some branding that you're going to see on thumbnails coming up that are going to kind of show a preview of, so you can quickly look and see, for example, what case we're looking at. So, for example, I will have a bunch of thumbnails. I'll show you one that's fully done with all the text and layovers and also with that. But this will be a background, for example, for Idaho 4 stuff. This will be a background blue with a medical symbol. If you don't know how that relates, you're not paying attention. That's for Luigi Mangione. And then Gilgo 4, we got a little bit of a kind of a Manhattan look and a green background. So that way, when you're looking at my thumbnails and they come up on your feed, not only can you subscribe to whatever particular playlist you want, so you don't have to watch the other cases, but you can see immediately by the color of the thumbnail which case it's going to be about. That way you can more quickly get through the content. So yes, Jenna, I will make sure that the She-Devil knows that you're excited for her being a part of the show, or being officially part of the business. Of course, you know, in a state where it's community property, half the business was hers anyways. But yeah, I will definitely pass along the interesting. So there's some of the rebranding. So if you see thumbnails changing, I don't know how this is going to work. Some things might pop up on your feed from way back. And by the way, my gosh, have we made a lot of changes in a short amount of time. When I go back and I watch some of the early videos I made on this channel, as I'm trying to put the thumbnails to them now with the new look on the thumbnails, I'm like, oh my God, I've come a long ways in a short amount of time. So yeah, we're gonna fix up the thumbnails, but I don't know if it's gonna push them to you again. I hope not. I hope it just changes thumbnails and you won't get bombarded with like 30 new things that are coming out. Let's talk about the hearing in Brian Coberger's case. We did. Again, there was a live hearing today. It happened in Boise, Idaho, Ada County at the courthouse. I plan to attend the Ada courthouse in person. There's the thumbnail if you want to take a look for it on my channel. I made a long form video. It's probably 2.5 hours long. I actually live streamed, if you will. Well, it wasn't live. I recorded the entire session. I paused in between things to explain what's happening in the courtroom, what I anticipate happening next, and surprises, like a certain person who was missing from the courtroom. Now, maybe I'm making too much out of this, and if you follow the case, maybe you know the answer that I don't know, but there was somebody oddly missing from the prosecution's table, and that is Ashley Jennings. Now, the reason why I think this is super interesting is because she's always been there at the table, as far as I know, and now she's missing. We know that Hippler recently wanted to know who was leaking information to the press and that he was going to hold them accountable. So I have to wonder, is her absence from the prosecution table an indicator that she has been reprimanded in some way? I don't know that that's true, so be careful about spreading that far and wide. My speculation is that's the reason why she wasn't at the table, is that she has been basically forced to step down, and whether or not we're going to be having an announcement of that in the future, I don't know. But that's one of the things that I picked up on. If you watch this video, it's got all kinds of educational stuff about trials in general, as I understand it. Again, I'm not an attorney, but I do have attorneys on with me on a regular basis. My God, I talk fast, don't I? All right, let's talk about what else was going on. Here's some highlights. Some highlights from that trial that I want to cover that happened was, it in a large part, the hearing was, I felt like, a waste of time. And the reason why I felt like it was a waste of time is because the defense already filed paperwork along with all the things that were read in court today about why there needs to be a continuance. And a continuance means essentially she's saying, based on the Dateline NBC hit piece that came out and various other things, in fact, including the fact that we continue to get discovery even this week, new discovery, we are not ready to go to trial. She's already filed the paperwork before the judge saying we want a continuance and postpone this trial because defense is not ready. The prosecution also has already filed paperwork essentially saying, no, don't grant a continuance, judge. They need to be ready. They've had plenty of time. Let's proceed. Don't waste the taxpayers' money and everybody's time in America anymore. Let's go. And basically, Hitler, what this whole trial was about was Hitler watching both sides come and make oral arguments to paperwork that he's already read. If you think Hitler looks checked out most of the time, he's definitely checked out now because he basically already knows their arguments. He's read their arguments. And here's the disturbing part, but also the highlight. The disturbing part was Hitler didn't make an official ruling. What he said was, okay, I've heard both of your arguments. I've received both of your arguments. I'll come out with something here shortly, officially. Not at this hearing, however, so it makes me wonder what the hell we had that hearing for. Although part of what they're having the hearing for is because of what's happening in the private session. So there was a public portion, that was what we saw, and then they turned off the cameras and they had a private session. So maybe there was some important business to take care of in the private session. But ultimately, all Hitler said was, I'll make a ruling pretty soon on whether or not we're going to have a continuance and postpone the trial. However, he said, if I were you, I would prepare to proceed with trial on the schedule we have. So basically he was saying, while I'm going to put it in writing, we are going forward with the trial as it stands. That means jury selection starting, I believe, July 30th. That means the trial starting April 11th. I already have reservations for a room in Boise, Idaho for the first week. I will continue to try to get a room in Boise, Idaho on a week-by-week basis if it works out. My intent, and I want to explain to you why I'm doing it and what it's going to be a benefit to you as followers of this channel if I get to go to the trial. So here's the way it works. Ada County has, their courthouse is an extremely small courtroom. If you watch my video that I've got the thumbnail presented on screen for you right now, you will find that that's in a very, very, very small courtroom. And then when you factor in family members that want to come, both on the Coberger side and on the prosecution side, different witnesses or whatever, that courtroom is already full. You factor in some press who are going to be there, that courtroom is already way over full. So there's an overflow room. That is going to be basically treated, from what I understand, as if it was an extension of the courtroom. There are different rules for what happens in the courtroom versus what happens on a live stream. So, for example, if you watch this video that, again, is on the screen and you watch that, you will see what it's going to look like from a live stream perspective. And, you know, I'll be able to live stream from my underwear in a hotel room if that's the case may be. But the point being is, and we won't show that on camera, it'll be... Okay, I'm taking a breath. Thank you for the reminder. If I live stream, it's not going to be any different than what you see. But what you're going to see is what you see on this video, which is you're going to have a camera on the defense table, you're going to have a camera on the prosecution table, and you're going to have the podium. And maybe when there's a witness on the stand, you'll have a camera on the witness. What you won't see is the jury. You won't see the jury. You won't see exhibits, most likely, that are put on the screen, especially crime scene photos. But people who are in the courtroom will be able to see the jurors' faces, generally speaking. And so if I get to be there in person, that means that I will be able to see the jury's faces. I'm allowed to comment as a member of the public or the press, whatever you want to call me, on general things like the jury seemed to be highly engaged. The jury seemed to be falling asleep during the defense's presentation. The jury seemed to grab tissues and wipe tears away when they were looking at... Those kind of things are allowed to be said as long as I don't tell you juror number 5, who's a blonde woman in her mid-30s, picked up a tissue and tapped Bob, juror number 6. If I don't name names, which I'm not going to know those names, and I don't tell you very specifics, we can talk about the generics. But that stuff you will never see on the live stream. So that's the benefit of having me in the courtroom, or you in the courtroom if you want to try it. The way this system is going to work By the way the system is going to work is it's going to be not a lottery system, but it's going to be a first come, first serve basis for getting in the courtroom. I don't know when and how they're going to do it, if they're going to do it the night before or the morning of, but they've got a website. There's going to be a button on that website that says, click here to hold a spot in today's hearing or tomorrow's hearing. And when they make that button live, it's click, 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 click. It's like concert tickets. Whoever gets in first with the clicks gets to reserve a spot. I will beat the hell out of the alarm clock and make sure that I don't go to bed or I don't rest, making sure that I'm the first to smash the button, and I will attempt to be in the courtroom every single day. But if there are literally thousands of people trying to get into the courtroom for some reason and the website freezes up and it's not responsive, it's like concert tickets. It's a crapshoot. Sometimes concerts sell out in a matter of minutes and people are left just not having a chance to get in. So that's the way it's going to work. I'm going to be there in person in Boise, clicking on that reserve a seat every single day in an attempt to get in there, and I will be one of the I will be the first to click the button in my theory. Is that the same kind of procedure in Luigi's hearing? Yes. In general, for any court proceeding in which the public is invited, but it's not going to be shown on TV, that's the same exact kind of process is going to happen. So it's going to be a first come, first serve. Sometimes you might stand in line if it's a low priority case, but something like a Luigi thing or whatever, they're probably not going to want thousands of people standing in line outside the courthouse. So they're going to be like, stay home, click a button. And if you get accepted on this e-ticket or whatever you want to call it, then show up at the courthouse. But don't go standing in front of the courthouse hoping to get in, because it's just going to be a shit show. And then we have to provide security all day long for people standing outside the courthouse. So I suspect it'll be the same kind of thing in that situation. So that's the highlights. There was a little bit of talk about discovery still coming in late. Both sides traded some shots back and forth. As far as I'm concerned, Hippler had a moment, and I talk about it on this video that I'm showing the thumbnail on. I recommend you watch it if you're curious. There's a moment where Hippler seems to show his clear bias towards the prosecution. The prosecution makes some kind of flippant remark about the defense, and Hippler basically says, yeah, I don't blame you. Basically making a snide remark about the defense. Now, the defense made snide remarks about the prosecution. Hippler didn't back them up. But when the prosecution made a snide remark about the defense, he was all over it. Yeah, I don't blame you for having that attitude. So yes, there's still this very big bias, in my opinion. And yeah, so we're gonna do the best to. I'm gonna give you those kind of analysis of my opinions about who's being fair, unfair, and you'll just have to trust whether you trust my take on those things. All right, what else do we have? So again, there wasn't a lot with that hearing. It was just honestly kind of a big disappointment. It was like, okay, I'm going to make an official ruling, but be prepared to go to trial. And again, from my perspective, I am prepared. I've got a room rented for the week, so I'm all set to go. My wife is gracious enough to take care of things at the house and is allowing me to go do my thing. I'll come home on the weekends and spell her of that. That was more than you needed to know. But anyways, let's move on. What do we got next? Oh yeah, I didn't talk enough about the trial. If I go, which, well, I'm certain I'm going, but what I'm going to do is every single day at the end of the court day, I'm going to do a 30-minute recap or less to try to give people who don't have all day long to sit in the court to listen to my take of 30 minutes of a review. Here are the highlights of the day. Guess what I also have for you? This is a special announcement. Ali Benevento, who you may have seen on my show before, an attorney, a criminal defense attorney of 15 years. Ali Benevento is going to take part of this trial with me. Sounds like on at least a weekly basis, where Ali and I will get together and talk about the week's proceedings. She's probably going to watch my 30-minute takes every day to kind of keep up on the trial and my impressions. And then Ali Benevento is going to come on and talk about it once a week with me. We may be doing that for a members-only area, but I'm not sure. We're still playing that beer, but Ali is 100% on board. So we get a fun perspective of having a criminal defense attorney to talk to me about my interpretation of what's going on in the courtroom during the week. So you don't want to miss that. If you don't, as the last plug, I think on this, and by the way, we might also have Cynthia Thornton on my show. She's another attorney who's been on my show before. She's shown interest in the Idaho 4 case. She may also do the same kind of thing. So I hope that you'll get excited. If you already are intrigued and you're new here, please make sure you like, subscribe, and get the notification bell going so that when I'm in the court, you won't miss my updates on those things. Okay. that sounds so vain. Like, why do you give a shit about my updates? Some of you do care about hearing my updates. So there you have it. Just like, say, Laura Jones is saying, yeah, so you speak the truth from your heart. Thanks for speaking up. So yeah, some people like my take. So appreciate that very, very much. All right, let's talk about lives tomorrow. We're going to talk at 12 o'clock. I'm going to go live by myself, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It'll be much like this. We're going to talk about news and information. And then at 5 p.m. tomorrow, it is, I'm going to remove this and put this on. It's myself and Pete Altieri from Murder Metal Mayhem. We've gone live before together. It was a really cool show. We have, obviously we're two older gentlemen, so we have the same kind of age range. We have the same kind of inside jokes. We have some of the same music history tastes, although he probably has a little edgier music than I was used to growing up with. He probably considers some of my hard rock to be soft rock. But hey, whatever the case may be, the two of us are going to do a live tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So check that out for sure. I think that's a great show. Just like Birdie and I. When Birdie, Bombshells, and I go on Monday, we've got a very different kind of vibe. When Pete and I go together, we have a very different kind of vibe. So find which one of those things you like most. Again, Birdie and I's vibe is different than Pete and I's vibe. So check out both. Find out what you like. Like, subscribe, follow his channel if you're not already doing so. He's got a much bigger channel than me, so you're probably already following him. So then follow me, and there you go. All right, so that takes care of looking ahead. And then we're going to talk about the Gilgo case. Again, I've started really getting into the Gilgo Beach murders because it's in my wheelhouse. Why is it in my wheelhouse? Because I have a focus on any time mainstream media is trying to shape opinion before a trial begins. Rex Heuermann, the lead suspect, you see him there on my thumbnail on the screen. He's the big guy next to the bald guy. That is the primary suspect, Rex Heuermann, in the Gilgo Beach murders. He's being tried for 7 murders, alleged serial killer, who was killing women mostly from, I believe, 1993 or 98 through 2013-ish. It was a cold case. It got reopened 2020 with a DNA break. So today there was a hearing in the Gilgo Beach murders where basically the DNA expert, which you see on the thumbnail, that's the gentleman with the long hair and the glasses, is ripped on by the DA here, Mr. Tierney, who basically insulted him, saying, your testimony as an expert has been inadmissible in 30 different cases. So I don't really care what you have to say about being an expert. So what he's basically arguing is, hey, the DNA software that linked Rex Heuermann to 7 of these murders is so badly, in such bad shape, has been updated something like 67 times since they linked Heuermann to the murders through that thing. And he's like, if your software needs 37 updates or 67 updates, there's a problem with the software. And so they fought that out a little bit. Some cheap shots were made. I've got a video about it. It's not very long. It's about 16 minutes. I recommend you check that out. Notice that this is on the green field. This is a green thumbnail. So that's what it's going to look like when I'm following the Gilgo Beach murders. There's a playlist for the Gilgo Beach murders. There's a playlist for Luigi Mangione. There's a playlist for Idaho 4. So if you just want to follow one of the 3 cases, as we pick this case up, you want to follow whichever case you want or multiple ones that you want. Also, the thumbnails will help you figure out which one you're looking at. Peacock, and another reason why it's in my wheelhouse is because Peacock is yet another, and this is a horrible low resolution image that I couldn't get them. A lot of places now don't want to give you a high resolution picture. I guess they just don't want you to rip off anything. This is a documentary that aired just recently, a couple weeks ago, about the Gilgo Beach murders. Netflix had a special on the Gilgo Beach murders called Gone Girls. Also, there's now Peacock, which is coming out. And so Peacock's episode is 3 parts, I believe, and it has some new information, which is for the first time we're hearing from Rex Heuermann's wife, Asa. I think Asa or Asa, not trying to be insulting, Asa. Let's say it's Asa. So Asa basically has not spoken to the press, but now all of a sudden she's on a documentary and she's giving her opinions about whether or not she knew that her husband was a serial killer. His daughter is going to be interviewed about whether or not she knew her father was a serial killer. Allegedly, Rex Heuermann killed women when his family was out of town. So whenever they would leave town and he would be alone at the house, he would then go out shopping for prostitutes online using Craigslist primarily, and then he would find them and he would kill them in a what was a kill room in their house in their basement, which may or may not have been a large gun vault that was soundproof that he could then basically muffle the you know what. I don't even want to get too graphic about it, but that's allegedly what happened. Now, one of the things I want to point out to you, why I think this case is so freaking interesting. When I watched Gone Girls, which was the Netflix special of 3 episodes, the first one was kind of boring, and I was like, snooze fest. I've seen this before. This case has been around for forever. Whatever. The second episode of Gone Girls in that Netflix series blew my ass away. I did a special on it. You can watch it on my channel. I would pull it up and show you the thumbnail, but just search for Gone Girls. I think you'll find that thumbnail. It showed massive amounts of police corruption to the point that the chief of police was trying to hamper the investigation so that they wouldn't find the serial killer. It turned out that there was allegations that multiple serial killers may be dumping bodies in the same location. All 7 of those bodies may not belong to Rex Heuermann. Hell, we don't even know, if you believe in the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in this country, that Rex Heuermann was responsible for any of them. Chances are good, I'm not going to lie, chances are good Rex Heuermann may have done some, but I can tell you right now from a cursory look and the little bit I've looked over off and on since I heard about the trial, there are reasons to believe that some of the murders look extremely different than some of the other murders, and they'll pitch it as the serial killer was evolving, and so his methods were evolving. But there's also the possibility that there was more than one killer dumping bodies in this area of Long Beach, Long Island, sorry. Gilgo Beach area, all around Massapequa. Yeah, see, I'm going to get all these names figured out and get it to I pronounce it right so that New Yorkers don't come bust my ass, because you guys are a tough crowd in New York. But anyways, the point being, it showed a huge amount of police corruption. A chief of police literally went to jail over things that are kind of related to this case. The DA went to jail over these things. The police corruption and the way that the police viewed prostitutes. Who gives a shit? They're prostitutes, was kind of their attitude. And there was even allegations, as crazy as this sounds, even allegations that a police officer, maybe the chief of police, may have actually killed some women himself and hidden bodies, but just didn't give a shit because they're prostitutes. Who cares? Nobody's going to go looking for these women. And so when I hear police corruption and high-level officials and district attorneys going to jail for corruption and hiding things and hampering an investigation and getting away in the FBI, holy living shit, I'm in. So that's another case that we're going to start following. I hope you'll find it interesting. Again, at the end of the day, just like in the Brian Coberger situation, if Brian Coberger is guilty, that's not the important part. The part is that we want a fair trial and we want to know what really happened. And if there was other things that happened, other people that were involved, I want to know, and we want to get it right. Same thing with Rex Heuermann. If Rex Heuermann did kill some of the girls, the question is, did he kill them all? Or did he kill any of them? And so I want to know what happened. We don't want killers to go away. And for God's sake, we don't want police officers who may have been involved in murders or covering up murders to walk scot-free without punishment. What they went to jail for, by the way, wasn't over the covering up the murders. It was over other shit. But you'll need to watch my stuff to get into that. All right. Let's go about one more thing I'm going to show you about that trial that's coming up. And that is, well, we'll go into it here. So I have a book, and we're going to open up the questions and answers here in about a half hour. By the way, let me know, by the way, in the chat, the people who are here, where you're all from, because I'm curious. It's one of the things that when Bertie was showing his show, he had people from all over the world. And I know that we have people in Europe. I know people have in Florida. I see people in Florida here. But it was very cool to see where all people are coming. So, by the way, while you're sitting here, if you don't mind just firing in where you're from, that would be very cool. But let me tell you about the book series, and then we'll go to questions and answers at the end. So I had this grand idea of running book series, because in order for Minnesota, thank you, Jeremy Pearson. So I had this grand idea of basically doing a book review or book series on books that are related to the case, because it's a way for me to come to better understand the case, right? Is for me to read all of the stuff that's been done, cover all the documentaries that have been out there. Those things are important for me to educate myself. So why not at the same time read the book chapter by chapter? I told you New York City people were going to kick my ass. They're going to be like, it's not Massapequa. Actually, I think it is Massapequa. You'll have to tell me whether I'm getting that right, because somebody said Massapequa. I don't know. Massapequa. I think so. Anyways, New Yorkers are going to kick my ass. So there we go. So the point being is that I have what I would call a book series on steroids. I read books. And again, when I read a book like Howard Bloom's When the Night Comes Falling about the Idaho formers, it's not because I'm saying, many people will say, Mr. Devil's Advocate, do you not realize that Howard Bloom is not an authority? I never said he's an authority. What I'm saying is it's a book that has been written about the case. And so I'm going to read it and I'm going to talk about it and I'm going to give my opinions. It's a book club on steroids. So I encourage you to watch those things. For example, in Luigi Mangioni's case, this was a recent book that we covered on my book series, An American Sickness by Elizabeth Rosenthal. Luigi Mangioni allegedly had stated in a confession letter after shooting Brian Thompson, allegedly. Please keep in mind that that's allegedly. Luigi Mangioni is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. And so the question becomes, when he wrote supposedly a confession letter, he said, look, this is about the healthcare system and you don't realize how bad things are. I'm not the right person to explain it to you. So you should educate yourself by things like Elizabeth Rosenthal's book or Michael Moore's Sicko movie. And so what I did is that's when I first said, you know what, let's have a book club. Let's read An American Sickness. If Luigi Mangioni said that we need to educate ourselves about how bad the healthcare system is in America, then maybe we should read An American Sickness. I have finished that book. Every single chapter of An American Sickness has been covered in long form on my website. If you go to the Luigi playlist, you'll see all the thumbnails that says Luigi Mangioni's book series or bookshelf. And it starts with 001 through like 019, which covers this. And now we're moving on to that same bookshelf series to like episode number 19 or 20, where we're going to start another book related to Luigi Mangioni. Let's cover that one real quick. This is going to be super controversial for people, but hey, if you don't want to read it, don't read it. And that is, oh, I need to remove something from the stage so that I can put something on. Let me go here and get an image file and do this one. This will kind of be troublesome for people. An Industrial Society and Its Future, The Manifesto by Theodore, aka Ted Kaczynski. So yes, Luigi Mangioni allegedly had written on a Goodreads account that he liked the manifesto written by Ted Kaczynski, An Industrial Society and Its Future. And so he said it was great, but according to writings supposedly in Luigi Mangioni's confession letter, his backpack, and his notebook that may or may not have been meant to be seen by the public. Oh my God, if you don't know what I'm talking about and all this is confusing and you're interested in Luigi Mangioni, you need to watch my videos about the backpack, about the arrest in Altoona, about the confession letter, about the notebook, all those things. But anyways, the authorities are calling Luigi Mangioni's personal notes a manifesto. In either the confession letter, I think it was mostly the quote-unquote confession letter that Luigi supposedly wrote, or the notebook, he talks about how Ted Kaczynski ruined his own message, that Ted Kaczynski had a good message, but that he ruined that message by killing innocent people. He was the Unabomber who sent bombs to random people and blew up random people. And I think he only killed 3 people, relatively small by today's standards, as horrible as that sounds. But the point being is that Luigi Mangioni basically hinted, allegedly in the writings that are attributed to him, that Luigi was trying to basically wake up the country to a revolutionary type idea about the healthcare system and how bad it is, and that he was comparing what he was doing to Ted Kaczynski. That's the logic that the prosecution is using, by the way. I'm trying to follow their logic. Luigi Mangioni views himself as a revolutionary like Ted Kaczynski, but that he had problems with Ted Kaczynski's delivery, which was blowing up innocent people, and therefore he became a monster and his message was lost. Luigi Mangioni, if he indeed is trying to wake up the population to the horrors of the American healthcare system, he wanted to make sure people didn't lose the plot. If you follow him, you know what I mean by lose the plot. Circus Music just gifted the show. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So the point being is that I say let's educate ourselves. If you are into the Luigi Mangioni case, regardless of whether you feel Luigi Mangioni absolutely could not have done it, He wouldn't hurt a fly. And all of those documents, the confession and whatever, are planted by the government, the FBI. If that's what you believe, that's fine. You're still going to get something out of my channel. If you believe that Luigi Mangione may have done it, but it may have been some kind of weird justified thing, you're going to hear explanations about that on this channel as well. So it's uncomfortable. If you just flat out believe he did it, and there's no question, you also can get something out of this channel, because I don't have a dog in the fight. Whether Luigi did it or not is not really the issue at the end of the day. The end of the day is making sure Luigi Mangione's constitutional rights aren't violated. We have an attorney that comes on from time to time who talks about it. By the way, Ali Benevento, I've already plugged her several times today on the show. She is going to come on the show with me and talk about the death penalty. The death penalty in particular is a big passion of Ali Benevento's, and the death penalty is on the table for both Luigi Mangione and the shooting of Brian Thompson, and also in the murders of the Idaho 4 by Brian Coberger. Both of those gentlemen are facing the death sentence, the death penalty. And so Ali Benevento has thoughts about the death penalty. I have thoughts about the likelihood that you think about the likelihood that that Luigi Mangione will or will not receive the death penalty. As a spoiler, I've said it before, so let's say it again. I do not personally believe Luigi Mangione is going to be sentenced to death. I think he will get life in prison without the possibility of parole. But I also feel like there's some tricks that are up our sleeves for this trial. It may be a landmark case. Shit might go off the hook. There might be jury nullification. There might be an acquittal where the jury says that they're just not going to convict him. There's all kinds of scenarios in which this will be the biggest landmark case that you've ever seen. So you should be paying attention. And as a last plug for my book club on steroids, let's read the books. Let's read the books and be educated about the story behind the story. That's what I would recommend. And so the last thing I think, the last thing we have to do now is just cover some generic questions and answers. I know I talk a million miles an hour. I never shut up. Let's now take a moment to take a drink of water and a breath and look for some questions and comments. Let me know what show. As an aside, I want to take a little poll in the thing. Put a 1 in here if you follow my channel for Luigi Mangione. Put a 2 in here if you follow my channel for Brian Coberger. Put a 3 in here if you follow primarily for both. And then put a 4 in there as well if you are interested in following the Gilgo Beach murders. So maybe you might have an extra one. You might be like a 1,4 or a 2,4 or a 3,4, but put a 1 in the channel if you follow Luigi and that's what you're following me for. 2 if it's Brian Coberger, 3 if it's both, and then 4 if you are interested in the last one. You're also interested in the last one. Cheryl, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. Laura Jones is here for all of it, both cases, and for the Gilgo case. Fantastic. Laura's like the super fan. Like, talk about it all. I'll watch it all. Anybody else here? I'm just curious whenever I do these polls. And by the way, I need to know. So it looks like somebody's here for Brian Coberger only. Wolf Angel, thank you very much. I'm trying to figure out how to give you guys the best service on my lives. I'm going live every single day. Maybe that's too much. Some content providers don't go live ever, and I go live every day. Jenna says 2, primarily Idaho, but now interested in all. Fantastic. If it's one thing is a super pride for me is if I can get you interested in a case that you weren't interested in before. One of the biggest compliments I ever had was somebody that told me, I have no interest in this case. And then they're like, okay, guess who's interested in this case now because you got me interested. And I'm like, fantastic. I love that I piqued somebody's interest in something that they weren't even interested in before. All right. Where was I going with that? Other questions and answers? Oh, I was going to take a question. Would you prefer that when I do a live, I make the live 100% about one case only and quit doing these shows that are kind of a little spattering of all? Because that's where I'm trying to lane right now. If I go live all the time, do I just go ahead and make certain days of the week be Luigi news, certain days Idaho news, certain days whatever? And the only problem with that is that news breaks throughout the week in different days, and I tend to try to go with what's hot. So I don't know. I don't know what I should do. Should I just keep it like I'm doing and just give you a little spattering of all? But some nights when there's something new, I will tell you, look, we're going to spend all night long on this case because it's the new hot thing at the moment. All right, Laura wants to hear it all, so that's awesome. Christine is only here for Luigi Mangione. I hope, by the way, that I hope you caught that I'm trying to segregate playlists, right? So I don't know exactly 100% how YouTube works, but my idea is that if you follow the playlist for Luigi Mangione. Hopefully you will see less of my other content that you don't care about so much, and you'll get all of my Luigi content. So make sure you go to my website or my channel, Devil's Advocates 2024, and follow the case that you want to follow. Cheryl thinks I should keep up with kind of what I'm doing, which is kind of a spattering of all the cases. I think that makes sense, Cheryl, because I think like Laura said in here, some people didn't know they were interested in a case until they heard me pique their interest. So if they only check in for the night that they're here, they'll never realize what they're missing. Maybe they'll wait a minute, maybe I got something. So somebody here just found the channel, so that's why they've only been on Brian so far, but I'm here to stay. Fantastic, Wolf Angel, I hope. So that's fantastic. You were like, hey, I'm only here for Brian, but that doesn't mean you won't be here for the other cases. So I hope you'll take some time to get yourself boned up on some of these other cases. I hope that you'll enjoy the content, or just start following from here on out. I feel like my camera's a little soft on the focus today. That kind of sucks. But anyways, so thank you so much. Any other comments or questions? Anybody have questions on any of the cases, or even other cases? Now, I don't follow other cases as strongly, so if you're going to ask me about Karen Reed, if you're going to ask me about P. Diddy, anyways, I could talk about some other cases, but primarily, any questions you have, Luigi Mangione, Brian Coberger, and now Rex Heuermann. I'm getting boned up on Rex Heuermann. I was also going to do Tyree Nichols. I think that was his name, that was beaten and killed by police officers in the back of a van or whatever. What they call that, the something squad. That story is still intriguing me. The officers were basically acquitted at the state level, but they're still facing federal charges. But I can't follow that many cases. You're all going to shoot me if I follow too many cases. And when I get going to the court, my whole day is going to be in court, right? So it's going to be hard to keep up on it all. Any other comments or questions before we wrap up? I'm early, but that doesn't mean I can't let you guys all go early. Any other questions or comments or concerns? I said I was going to take a drink, and I didn't really do that. Boy, did you hear all that sucking sound? Christine Ross watches all my videos regardless. That is a super, super fan. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being there. I wish if I only knew what some people are doing out there. I'm sure a lot of people are doing really cool stuff for me. Every once in a while I hear somebody say, hey, by the way, I'll put your video on replay and just let it go all day long while I'm doing dishes so that you get watch time hours. That's fantastic stuff. I don't want to encourage it because YouTube might get mad about me encouraging manipulating numbers. But it's amazing sometimes how dedicated people are to a channel, that they really do little things to help us out. So thank you so much. Do you know if BK believes in the death penalty? I don't know. Did you know, by the way, as an aside, thank you for this question. Did you know that I'm writing letters every single week to Luigi Mangione and Brian Coberger? I'm writing them one letter every single week on Sunday. I've got a section of my members only area of the website of my channel for members only. Memberships, by the way, are only $2.99 to get in at the letters to Luigi and letters to Brian. I write to them every single week, and I'm trying to get these individuals to write back. Now, understanding they probably cannot talk, or their attorneys would advise them not to talk about their cases, and they may be too busy with their cases going on. But I'm intending to try to get a connection and a conversation going. Now, would BK, if he ever started the conversation, admit on whether or not how he personally feels about the death penalty? I don't know. We'll see. Elizabeth Morgan likes the variety of the show. Thank you so much. Dina is interested in all three cases. That's amazeballs. That's perfect. How do you manage to do everything and still have so much energy? Oh my God, how many times a day do I have people tell me, dude, cut back on the crack, stop the caffeine, take a freaking breath, you're insane, man, you're like a toddler on speed. I get insults like that on a regular basis. This has always been me. I'm a super fast talker. I talk that fast when I'm at the table playing cards with somebody, but also, yes, I get a lot of energy and passion from covering true crime. And my biggest passion, if you will, this is why I get so much energy. My biggest passion, I've always had what some call the heart of a teacher. I love teaching people things. I love explaining to people how the legal system works, how law enforcement works, breaking down, for example, how an arrest in Altoona, Pennsylvania, how it's not illegal in Altoona, Pennsylvania to provide false identification to a police officer unless you've been informed you're under arrest. Those little nuances, many people in the public miss because they don't read carefully. They don't read the law to understand what the law is saying. They don't go look into the appellate courts. I love doing that and then sharing it with you and going, hey, by the way, have you ever been curious why some people say it was, why did his attorney say it's not illegal to tell a police officer the false name and give a false ID? Of course it's illegal. No, it's not. And I'll explain to you why. So there's my passion, Jenna. My passion is here it is. Anytime I say something to people and I see in my chat, wow, holy shit, I didn't know that. That's what fuels my fire. Anytime I say something and I taught somebody something that they didn't know, that's my natural crack right there. I don't have to take drugs. I just love teaching people stuff and feeling like somebody became more enriched because of something that I shared that they didn't know. I watch all the videos too, and most of them more than once. That's amazing. You know what somebody told me? Look at how fast I talk, right? How fast I talk. And was it you? It might even been you. I listened to you at ×2 speed. Holy shit. Maybe it wasn't you. Somebody told me they listened to me on ×2 speed. I can't even imagine that. I generally appreciate everything and I look forward to watching the other cases now. I've never clicked subscribe so fast as I did after watching only 2 minutes of one of your videos. I'm hooked. Thank you so much. I hope I don't lose that. You set the bar high, because if I got your attention in 2 minutes, can I do that every video? No, I know I can't. But hopefully you'll give me some leeway on a day that I'm having a bad day. Like today I have a fever, I'm having a bad day. And yet still you're with me. So, do you have the iPhone join link? If not, I'll go on my laptop tomorrow and join. iPhone join link. I feel like I'm freaking missing that one. I don't know about the iPhone join link. Huh. Laura says, I will listen and watch. Yes, great touch writing letters, the best part of your videos. The letters are pretty cool. I say this sometimes on the letters. If you're an intelligent person, and by the way, I think a lot of my viewers are intelligent. I think a lot of the viewers are intelligent. If you're an intelligent person, you'll probably see some subtleties in the way that I write my letters, in the way that I'm trying to hook the individuals in these cases to write back and to be able to share things about the case without sharing things about the case. There's a mental play going on there. And if you're a smart person, you'll probably be able to pick up on that. So, and that's why I encourage you to read the letters, because what's going to happen, I almost guarantee what's going to happen is if Luigi Mangione writes back to me and it's clear that he's okay with me sharing that letter. I asked him for permission, by the way. In one of my letters, I said, hey, look, I'm a true crime podcaster. I talk about you on my show. You're one of my cases. And if you write, you can expect that I'm probably going to share that unless you tell me this is private. So I've given him hey, if you want it private and you do write back to me, just put private in front of a paragraph or private at the top of the letter so I know it's all private. But if they want to share, one of the things that I think you're going to miss if you're not subscribed and watching the letters to them is when they respond, you won't have the background. Because I guarantee what's going to happen is at the first time I say, hey, by the way, I got a letter today from Luigi Mangione, and it's for members only to be able to see what he said, you're going to be like, oh, I want to know what that letter is. And then you're going to subscribe and you're going to be like, I don't know the context for this. Now, granted, if you subscribe, you can go back and watch all the context videos on how we got to that point. But yeah, Cheryl's the one that watches me on 2x speed. I can't imagine. So I've been keeping you on your toes. That's good. For some reason, it's harder to join from an iPhone, Circus says. I'm not sure why that is. If there's something that I can do, Circus, and you know that there's something I can do, please let me know how I can make it easier for people on iPhones to subscribe. But, so I'm going to show you one more thing on my website. Am I still sharing my website? If I scroll my website, yeah, I'm still sharing it. Let's put this up on stage. So this is new. It's a little preemptive. It's a little early. I will get back to questions, by the way. So someone here, by the way, said that they like my approach. It's different. That's what I kind of hope for. Thank you so much. I don't want to be a parrot of every case out there. I feel like I've got my own style. Yes, we're all covering the same stories. And so you're going to hear the biggest person I think I get likened to is Harsh Reality, which I really, really love his channel. I'm not trying to rip off his channel. We do talk differently, but we have very, very similar sense of humor. So if you like my style of humor, you're probably going to like his, only he does it a lot slower. I do it on crack, I guess. But what I wanted to show you is I have always wanted to be a writer. I have written a couple of books, not necessarily books that you're going to want to read. I'll tell you that right now as a warning. But I plan on writing a book about my journey starting the Devil's Advocates. By the way, this channel, the Devil's Advocates idea was launched back in 2012 with the shooting of Aurora, Colorado, of the Batman premiere, and then the subsequent shooting later that year at Sandy Hook Elementary. I started covering those cases in 2012, but I didn't have a YouTube channel, and I was only doing a blog. And I started writing a book about that thing, but I never finished the book. But I have a high desire to write a book about the whole journey of Devil's Advocates, including the early cases up through and through the conclusion of Brian Coberger's case, which is my first case to go to trial as a YouTuber. And so I'm going to write that book. Now, where I'm going with all that is that on my website that I'm showing here, there's a register page, a login page, an account page. And if you go to these places, if you are a subscriber, like you're an imp level subscriber, a devil's level subscriber, or a demon's level subscriber, those are different tiers of membership. You're going to get access to behind the scenes draft chapters of the book as I write it, my notes from the courtroom that I'm writing, some extra bonus stuff that I wouldn't put on the channel, but I'll make it available as I'm writing that book. So I invite you to go along with me if you like to read, although I realize a lot of you don't have as much time on your hands as I have apparently. All right. I assume that you're using Safari, maybe using the feature to request desktop version off the site. I think it doesn't show up on the mobile version. I'm using Chrome actually for a browser, but my browser shouldn't be impacting. Oh, sorry. Circus Music. Cheryl is writing to Circus Music. Look at that. I freaking jumped into the middle of your conversation. I'm going to take that off. You guys go have your own private conversation. Any other comments or questions? I got about 9 more minutes in me at best, or I'm going to shut down early. I go for about an hour. So it's at the top of the hour in about 9 minutes. I want to give you guys an opportunity to say hi, to ask questions, anything like that. In the future, I might have a section where I can invite people to come up on stage with me. I believe I can send you an invite link to an email address. So in the future, if you're interested in coming on with me and talking to me on camera, we can maybe work that out. It should be pretty easy to bring somebody in with just giving you a link, and you use your web browser and your web camera on your phone or your computer, and your microphone on your phone or your computer, and you can hook up and you'll have a little picture side by side with me as we talk about things, if you're so inclined and so brave. Jenna's going to subscribe after the live because I forgot my password. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much for that. I love it. Any other questions or comments? Again, Luigi Mangione has been super quiet on his website, by the way. And well, on his website, there's a letter log where he updates letters that he's writing to people. He has not received a single letter of mine yet. Oh, by the way, I was meaning to tell you, in the Brian Coberger's letter, I'm not sure Brian Coberger has received a single letter of mine. I've been writing him. I think I've written Brian Coberger 4 letters once a week, and I got my first letter rejected to me because I was sending it to the courthouse has an address for incoming books and periodicals and an address for correspondence. The correspondence, Boise, Idaho, you can mail books and magazines directly to a prisoner in Idaho where he's detained. But if I want to send a letter, I got to send that ass letter all the way to Massachusetts, and then Massachusetts routes the mail from Massachusetts back to Boise across the country so that he can get his mail. So because I didn't send his letters to Massachusetts and I sent it to Idaho directly, I got my first rejection letter saying wrong address, and then I had to figure out what the deal was. I'm like, are you kidding me? Correspondence gets routed through Massachusetts. So I forwarded on letter 1 to Massachusetts. So as far as I know, we may see every single letter I've written to Brian Coberger getting bounced and being a couple weeks behind. I resent the one. Yes, the letter that I got back from week 1, it has been resent. It's on its way. It should already be there by now. True Blue Thinker, writer, and kicks ass when needed. Tell your wife hello from East Tennessee. How lucky is she to have a man with higher thinking ability. I'm so grateful I found you, really. Thank you so much, Laura. I would, it's funny. My wife may not appreciate, I know she does. My wife appreciates what I do. She does. She's not a super she doesn't want to have big, long intellectual conversations. That's not to say my wife is not smart. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is literally, if I talk philosophy or I talk cases too long, I put her to sleep. She does not have the tolerance that you guys do. I'm like, oh my gosh, like here's the philosophical ramifications of the death penalty. And she's just like, she thanks me for putting her to sleep. So there we have it. Any other questions or comments in the last few minutes? I know it's dead air. I have a hard time with dead air. Any other comments, questions? I want to thank everybody for coming in here today. Will you present and show the return response? Will you present and show your return response? Laura, I'm not sure if so here, let me just clarify. Every letter I send to Luigi Mangione or Brian Coberger, I read to my members. Now that's a member, not just a subscriber, so it's a paid area content, but I read it verbatim. So I write it on Sunday, and then I come on camera and I read the letter that I'm sending to them. So I read them verbatim to everybody, so you know what I said to them, because I am an open book. What I'm saying to these guys is open season, open book. Now, if they write back, and that's a big if, I don't know that they will ever find time to write to me. They may not want to write to me because I tell them I'm a YouTube true crime podcaster who believes in the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. They know who I am and what I do. They might want to have nothing to do with me. Their attorney might recommend they don't talk to a true crime podcaster. But if they write back, I have asked them to express whether or not the conversation is private or not. So it's full disclosure to them to know that I'm a public channel talking about their case. And anyways, so if they write back and if they give me permission, I will be sharing that somewhere. Whether I share it, my inclination is to share it for members only, especially if I'm not 100% sure that they intended it to be sent to a broader audience. Now, if they say, hey, let the whole world know the following, then I'll read it on the public channel. But if it looks like it's a message to me in which they're okay with my subscribers hearing it, I'll do it on the member only area. And if it seems like it's private, but I can share the gist of it, I won't read it to you, but I'll tell you the gist of it. So yes, I intend to absolutely share with you, but there's some people who think that I'm being disrespectful if I share somebody's private letter. If Luigi or Brian writes back to you, that's a private letter. Again, I made it clear in my letters to them what I do and that I'm a public figure, if you will. They know what I do. And I said, if you don't want, I'm going to assume that what you say to me is something that is okay for me to share with my audience. If that's not true, please write private on it. So I've given them that instruction, and so they have that option. And if they do mark it as private, of course, I will not share it. But I will still make my best effort to share with you, in general, things I've learned about their personality based on the things that they hid in private. So as an example, just to finish this up, let's say Luigi Mangione wrote back and said, hey, please keep this private. And then he tells me a personal story about his family, right? I might relate to you that Luigi Mangione shared some personal feelings about his family so that you know what it was about, but not read to you what he said. So that was if, for example, that's the kind of scenario. If Luigi said, hey, please keep this between you and me. Here's what what I'm struggling with. If he says keep it between me and you, I'm going to keep it between me and him. But I might give you the general idea of like, hey, we talked about mental health issues, we talked about family, we talked about this, and I won't get into the details out of respect for his privacy or her, or whatever, So or her privacy. No, these are all males that I'm following in this case so far. Anything else? So I want to say thank you for everything you do. You have a great approach, and I love your channel. You're relatable, not like many like you. There's not like many like you at all. Just wanted to thank you. Hope you feel better. Thank you so much. I don't know why the hell I stumbled all over the hell of reading. My reading comprehension skills need some improvement. But thank you so much. It's you have to have. I'm learning. You have to have a thick skin to do what I'm doing, because some people enjoy and like my channel exactly for what I'm doing. And other people will tell me, stop swearing, slow down, do this, do that, don't do this, and I'm like, what you're saying is you don't like me as a human being, because I am a fast talker. I am full of energy. I am this guy. So if you ask me to stop being me, what you're saying is I don't like you as a person, and that's okay. It is 100% okay if you don't like me as a person. There's all kinds of people following this case or my cases. So, and if you want recommendations, I can even probably help you find a content provider, if you will, a content creator who is more probably your style if you don't already have it. So anyways, thank you again, everyone. I think that's it for me. I want to appreciate everyone so much. Thank you again for my gifter who gifted money, one of my new members to the channel there. That membership is a paid membership. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Again, Circus Music for giving us a donation to help out the channel. All the people who spend time, again, money is not the only way to show support for this channel. All of you who watch my episodes over and over again, all of you who take time I get comments all the time for the algorithm, and you just give a thumbs up or a heart or a quick comment. That is amazing. That is exactly what we need to get the message out there and get the channel noticed. It's a growing channel. Somebody kicked my nuts a few weeks ago. No wonder you can't break 2,000 subscribers because you suck. Now we're over 3,000 subscribers. So maybe he'll come back and go, no wonder you can't break 3,000 subscribers because you suck. Let's keep upping that number on that asshole so that we can say, no wonder I'm over 10,000 subscribers. Anyways, yeah, sometimes I get my hackles in a bunch. That's it, people. Thank you so much for checking out the live. Tomorrow, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time is my next live like this one. Then Murder, Metal, Mayhem. God, Pete's going to kick me in the balls. Murder, Metal, Mayhem. Pete Alterier and I, again, that's coming up tomorrow night. It says 7 Central. It's 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Check you out tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Have a good evening.